You know, Joe, we have 3, 4, 5 teams on the lead lap, although we have a pack of riders of about 10 or 15 riders. And what that actually helped out Major Taylor because the field is big. It's bigger even though not all the guys are on the lead lap. Major Taylor was able to take advantage of that and make contact. And they're back in the race. Their riders trying to work their way through the lap traffic back up to the front where we have Dodds House and Cutters and Black Key Pulls really making this race happen.
You're taking a look at TMT right now, kind of working their way through some traffic. What's interesting to me, Judd did some work this week. He found out that 3 teams all think they have the fastest sprinter. You know, Dodds House said, Chartier said, I can beat Alex. Alex thinks he can beat Chartier. And then Black Key Bull saying CT Blackwell's the fastest guy. So I think they're comfortable letting it float out to a sprint.
And that's what it may come down to, which will be interesting.
It's going to be a great finish, really. Everyone right now, the guys are out there working. They're just trying to get their sprinter to that lead lap at the end. You know, 198. Make sure he's on the bike and ready to go. Here's 5 side for an exchange, bike to bike. Again, a good one, right? Just kind of picture perfect. Get off the front. Steinschik gets back on, and he's going to try to get up there. Good exchange. They've been riding good position.
You know, and again, these exchanges are easier because even though we have five teams on the lead lap, we've got about a pack now of 10 to 15 guys. And that's really going to play in the favor of the guys that are trying to come in off of an exchange.
They're coming around for lap 159. Cutters again in white. There's some communication going on with the Black Key Bulls in light blue. Team Major Taylor in pink.
So Jason, if we come down to the final laps, and we have the 5 lead teams that are all these teams that are on the lead laps, but if they're together with a group of 15, what happens to those other riders that are lap traffic? Do they get pulled out, or are they still in it for the last lap as well?
That's a great question, and the officials will help with this, but it'd be kind of communication. The riders that are lapped down, they'll get to the outside, and they'll let the leaders, the 4 guys that are on the lead, off the front, and they'll let them duke it out for the finish. It's really a matter of respect. No one's going to get in the leader's way, and the officials are going to help make that happen. Chief race official being Mike Howard, who's really done a terrific job over the years of kind of keeping this race together and making sure everyone abides by the rules.
Guys, will they do that by signaling with the black flag to ride on the outside?
It's not the black, it'd be the blue with the orange stripe. And so it's a combination of the officials telling you, and it's also a matter of respect, right? You know what teams are on the lead lap, and you're going to let them sprint for the finish.
Team Major Taylor making a move on the backstretch as they look to be ready for an exchange, but we've seen this is going to be their 8th exchange. They've got to get to a minimum of 10 in order to have an opportunity to win this.
TMT really riding terrific. We saw them down a little bit earlier, but they've caught right back up, and now they're getting gaps again.
You know, Team Major Taylor has got some rough exchanges there. It's obviously something that they could definitely work on, although their riders still getting in the back. It looks like we had a little bit of a tangle on the front side, but nothing too serious.
That was more than a bike-to-bike exchange for Beta Theta Pi.
You know, again, we see the field kind of spread out, 3, 4, 5 riders wide. That means they're not going that fast.
This is a year of the sprinters. I mean, I just feel a really tremendous sprint coming on at the end of this race. I said that the sprinters might be resting their legs. Here's Alex Bishop for the Cutters. He's going to be their sprinter. This will probably be his last set, just trying to make sure those legs are still fresh and do a hard set.
Guys, with the way the track is, if he goes absolutely hammered down, can the bike and the track handle it?
It's a feeling that you've never felt before. When you're on a cinder track, it's loose, you know, and you're going as hard as you can. The key is just to never stop pedaling and to keep that traction, that connection with the track. So here comes a Cutters exchange. This will be interesting to watch. He's got a great gap.
Huge gap. And Dodds House also doing an exchange up there in the top part of your screen.
These guys are just so dialed in. You just don't see them drop exchanges. They have it down to a T. It really goes into all that preparation.
And he just did a great job of setting his teammate up. He didn't have to expend any energy to jump back in there.
Was he breathing hard?
I think he had 2 fingers in the nose, as we like to call it.
He's ready for the sprint.
Guys, if it comes down to a sprint, is ITTs and the way these guys finish, is that the indicator of what it's going to be on the last lap when it comes to a sprint? Is that going to translate?
Time trials is a little bit different. Missing out is really the best example of how a sprint's going to shake out. And missing out's an event where the last rider across the line each lap gets pulled out. It's patterned after a track event. Alex Bishop won that this year. You saw it. He sprinted against Chris Chartier, so it's really going to be a rematch of what happened earlier in missing out, I think.
35 laps to go. Here at the 57th running of the men's Little 500. Yesterday, we saw the 20th running of the women's race won by Kappa Delta.
So Jason, we should tell the folks at home the qualifying events, the events that take place with these teams leading up to the Little 500. We have the missing out, we have the time trials, we have the team pursuit. You know, part of those are to qualify for your pit position, to qualify for the actual race. What does the missing out do? Is that just to kind of give some transparency into who's fast and who's not, or what's the purpose behind that event?
Yeah, those events happened in the early 90s. There used to be a criterium on campus that all the riders got to take part in. The idea just being, you know, let's give them events other than the Little 500, individual series events, right? To shake their legs out. Individual time trials is a 4-lap race, 4 riders at a time, and they just go for the best time over 4 laps. Missing out, more of a sprinter's race. The slowest rider each lap gets pulled out and they go in heats. The last, and personally I think the best indicator of the race is team pursuit. And team pursuit really tells you the strongest team on the track. 4 riders from the same team ride 15 laps. This year that was won by Cutters, and they also hold the record in the 80s for the fastest team pursuit.
So what was the time?
The time this year was 9:16 over 4 laps. In the 80s, I know they did it in 8 minutes.
Wow, that's fast. Was that from the Stetna brothers?
It was Jay Paulsgrove in a group, I think it was 1987. When you talk to them, you remember this from Team Pursuit, they said their goal was to always try to drop the last guy, but they couldn't do it, and they all stayed together. That's how hard they were riding.
That's right. And so also for the team pursuit, you know, you only have to finish with 3 riders. You start with 4, and it's the time of the 3rd rider's wheel across the line. Is that correct?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Interestingly, Cutters finished with all 4 this year. They won against Dodds in the finals. Cutters finished with 4, and they beat Dodds with 3.
So there's a lot of trash talking leading up to the Little 500 based on the results of the pursuit and the missing out and the time trials and so on and so forth.
Sure, everybody wants to win.
169 laps complete. Dodds House in front, team number 9 for Cutters in white, 2nd. Team Major Taylor 3rd in pink. And catching up Faisai very quickly along the back stretch.
Black Key Pulls also off the back, and you know, Faisai really making a big move there to get across to Major Taylor. Black Key Pulls is gonna have to put in a big effort here to get back to the leaders. We see Dodds House and Cutters on the front. Major Taylor sitting in there again. Faisai just made contact. Black Key Pulls just trying to bring up the rear, just about a 5, 10, 15-foot gap off the back there. You know, Cutters, again, always on the front. Clean exchanges. They've got the best pit. I mean, they are running a textbook race here.
Yeah, they really are.
Jim Kirkham today, their coach, one of the things he said, we're ready to eat them up today.
They're hungry, aren't they? They haven't won since 2004. They really, really want this.
What kind of a coach is Jim Kirkham?
He's a rider's coach. He really kind of lets the riders play it out and go on feel a lot. There's a tendency to overanalyze this race, and you get a lot of alumni here that tell the current riders exactly how they want them to ride. But Kirkham, and I think the general feel is let these guys go out there and make their own race and make their mark.
Kirkham ran for the Cutters team from 91 to 94, won it once in 92, but one of the reasons he said he coaches is that he felt he never achieved his potential as a cyclist, and he felt he had some unfinished business.
So it looks like we have a little bit of a breakaway here. Although both Dodds House and Black Key Bulls coming in for an exchange. Cutters and Faisai off the front right now. There we see Dodds House trying to bridge across to that little break. Major Taylor's going to have to do some work here too, because he could get left out of the party if Dodds House, Faisai, and Cutters get together. They could walk away from this race right now.
Dodds House, because of that sprint along the backstretch, able to catch up to the leaders. Team Major Taylor doing the same as they come out of turn 3 and into turn 4.
And the team that we don't see is Black Key Bulls, and they're closing pretty hard.
Jason, 27 laps to go. When do you want your best rider in there? When is your finisher put in? How many laps?
Everyone's a little bit different. I think you'll see him. I've seen it as late as lap 198, but I think Common is about 5 or 6 laps to go. I'd say 4 to 6.